Jean, you are maybe one of the people I know that have worked quite intensively with XMPie. What are we going to expect to see from David in a second?
There's no doubt that XMPie has got fantastic product that covers just so many areas. And, the companies that use it, I think they set the bar quite high on the kind of things that you can actually do with their product. So I know from a variable data, the kind of applications you can create, wow.
That's good to see you again, David. That was actually a Murphy's Law. If something goes wrong, everything goes wrong. So when I tried to mute you and turn off your camera when we were getting live, I accidentally clicked the eject, which you should never do. But fortunately for you, it didn't kick you out of the roof, right? So, David, welcome to Learn with us here.
Thank you very much.
I just said to Jean that because she's worked with XMPie and knows about XMPie, and I was just the takeaways, because XMPie is a name that you see all over the place, and I also know about XMPie. We had also some good interviews with some of your colleagues in English just a couple of months ago, and I was just thinking that XMPie is now part of Xerox. That is, of course, important to mention. You told me that a couple of times. Yeah. XMPie, when I think of it as a layman, I think of it as a variable data engine. Is that a correct assumption?
It's a correct assumption, but only a small segment of what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think.
Will you elaborate a little bit on what it is more than that?
I'll cover in more detail, but essentially, it's a platform. It's a platform that helps many really develop meaningful, personalized version communications that span both digital and print. Of course.
Yeah.
Can you turn on your camera, David?
Yeah, it's kicked off my camera for some reason. Looking to come back in.
I said it's Murphy's Law today.
Yeah. Put that back on as well. Connection seems okay. Hopefully it'll come back on. I can't see
just
either.
Just refresh the browser then. It takes 2 seconds.
Okay, let me just do that. Okay,
yeah, now we have you again.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. We let's keep going, please.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to load my slides back into as well now. Every time it keeps the slide where was I? Yes. So XMPie is a platform, and it's a platform that helps drive personalization in print as well as personalization in digital as well, in exactly the same way. So, and of course, we within the industry know the print aspect very well. That's what we've been doing for 20 years now. But I think XMPie has always been a much bigger tool. And I think what's really, and again, the whole premise of the conversation today is the opportunity that now presents us. That given the technology that we have, given where consumers are, given where the marketplace is, there is a lot more which is possible, and a lot more which organizations are taking the fullest opportunity from.
Yeah, so you definitely do. It does link you to all kinds of other media. So, I mean, that's the great thing about your software, is as you say.
Yeah.
So, but what I can't help thinking. Sorry. Yeah, no. What I can't help think about, David, is basically that I think that one of the changes that we, as a printing industry, maybe have to look into is that we are part of the omni-channel, and basically too many printers look at, for example, if they invest in XMPie, they look at it as a maybe relatively high cost for something that just do variable data. And maybe the entire paradigm shift is that we have to see ourselves as communication providers and basically enable both electronic communication into the printed channel as well to the social media, to mails, to everything. Is that something that is? I mean, to me, that sounds like a tremendous challenge from a communications perspective.
It's a tremendous challenge for many, and I think as a print provider, you're clear and obvious focus is on the print capabilities that you have in-house and the print capabilities that you have, to be able to produce. But I think, as businesses, and I think this year has taught us more so than any before, that we have to be able to be in a position to change, to pivot, to look at new opportunities, to be able to evolve as organizations. And I think, having the backbone in technology and services and technology behind you that allows you to make those changes is key. And I think what we've seen, certainly from our customers, is they've been able to, like I say, you may not be in omnichannel doing omnichannel now, but when the opportunity arises, you want to be able to take that opportunity with both hands and be able to deliver it without having to go back and change everything you've done previously. And I think that's where many of our customers are now seeing this huge opportunity because of the modularity and what is XMPie.
But I can't help think about, because the reason why I was asking about this question is because I think we have been during these weeks this week, and in particular today where we had the software part. I mean, you invest in a machine for multi-million dollars, and then you're like getting picky on buying a workflow system for 5,000. It's like, and you are picky about having a paper that costs a little bit more than the competition. And I'm just wondering, do we have to change, or in the communication to the PSPs, do we need to try to see if we can convince them that acquisition cost is not the same as it used to be, because it's also about customer retention. It's also about creating new opportunities in the market. Is that part of the equation?
It is, and I think for the last 5-10 years, the whole emphasis on workflow in addition to the presses, I think, has been instrumental. You can spend £500,000 on a press, whatever that press may be, but unless you spend the $10 on the correct plug, it's useless. And unless you get the customer in to feed it, it's useless. So as much as you need to invest in the equipment that you need and you want to be able to output and fulfill for your customers, unless you have the technology and the software and the processes behind it that's going to feed it and excel it forward, it's useless. And I think that's where some companies have found themselves. The focus has been on the press and the equipment, but not the surrounding business processes. That's not the workflow and how that press is going to be fed and where you can then take it.
I've always said that the press is a marketing tool. So it doesn't matter whose press it is, it's a marketing tool, and it's what you're going to do with it that's your key differentiator. Yeah. And obviously the whole software behind it, it's nothing. Otherwise, it's basically a box. So
it is just a big box.
It is. It's a box. And it's the software that's going to... No, but I mean, this is inkjet, but guess what? Inkjet needs applications to make it happen. And, that's software, and that's, other forms of media that are going to drive print, or, is going to drive to print, or vice versa. So...
And I think, I'll cover it in some of the slides that, but I think inkjet, more than many, has a bigger opportunity, because I think the changes that have happened in the inkjet marketplace over the last 5 years have been insurmountable. So they brought inkjet now sits where digital print, high volume production color sat. And I think where XMPie has been fueling that market very successfully, the market is now here with inkjet. So I think more so than ever before, you have the capability of having a very large and great capacity to output, and you can now drive it in the same way that you were driving your Indigo or your Xerox press or whatever. So I think that in that perspective, the opportunity is immense.
Every time I have interviewed managing directors from InFocus, I have always asked them the same question, because I think it's funny to ask the same question, that every time you have a new iteration of a software, it gets more features. It gets maybe easier to use, but it also becomes more complex if you use all the aspects of it. And I have asked both Chili Publish and InFocus and Tilia Labs at multiple times whether that that software box that becomes more and more complicated doesn't become more and more difficult to market.
I think as any software grows, and XMPie is 20 years old, so we've got 20 years.
Grown a lot.
It's grown a lot, but it hasn't really changed since the first day. You know, the foundations that we put in place at day one are still the same foundations that we have now.
Fantastic.
Yes, the technology.
And I
changed,
love
yes.
that because the message has been the same, hasn't it?
I've been saying the same thing for 15 years.
Thank you. I do training, and I look at my training material, what I used then, it's the same as now because the message is the same.
Guys, then I have a takeaway. You have been ahead of your time, both of you, and you've just been waiting for everything else to develop around you, right?
It's the perfect storm.
Exactly.
Finally.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. It took a pandemic, sadly, but it's happening.
All of us are so stupid, right? I mean, no, just kidding. David, did you get your slides back
I think
online?
the slides are here, yep.
Okay, so I think you should take it away. Gene and I will disappear for a second, but we will listen, and then we have Q&A afterwards.
Okay, all right.
So if you need help, you just tell me.
Yeah,
okay?
Cheers, Morten. Thank you very much. Okay, let's put this on. So hopefully you can see that. Okay.
We can.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so good morning, everyone. And firstly, to say thank you to taking the time to join me on today's session. And of course, a huge thank you to the English team for putting this together. My name, as you know, is David Baldaro. I'm the product marketing manager at XMPie, which is a Xerox company. And I wanted to take the next 30 minutes to really talk to you about XMPie and our solutions, ultimately showing you ways in which you can profit today and protect your business for tomorrow, which is, of course, hugely important. Let me just progress the slides forward a second. Okay. Okay. So, because change is inevitable, the world is constantly changing, and so is technology, as we've just spoken about. And I'm not talking about the obvious changes that we've experienced really in the last 12 months or so, but the constant pressure of change that we're all under every day. Businesses continuously under pressure to change and to evolve and to grow. And this constant change keeps us on our toes as providers, as technology companies, and ultimately as customers. And so as technology providers, we're always trying to look ahead and change and deliver the best possible platform, the best products for our customers. And as providers, you're always looking at ways to increase profits and grow through scaling or streamlining, I guess, and how you can maximize the return on investment and still be in a place where moving forward is straightforward and you don't have to go back and make unnecessary changes. And as customers, we look towards our providers and the technology companies to make our lives ultimately easier and less painful while allowing us to do more with what little time we have left in the days. And I guess like the chameleon here on screen, change is expected and they have adapted to being able to change quickly and with great effectiveness. And so personally, I said previously, I've been and lived and breathed these changes in the print industry for more than 20 years now. But what does that all have to do with me and now and I guess XMPie? So moving forward, well, I truly believe that there is a great opportunity that exists for many people, either in the inkjet space or those looking to complement existing digital technologies with inkjet. And it's a great opportunity for those people looking to build up a volume of work on their presses, but not just about adding commodity volume, which takes you deeper into that pricing battle, but adding volume which adds a higher value to each and every sheet that comes off the press. A value which resonates with the clients, which secures you long-lasting clients which are not focused on the price per page. I guess it's an opportunity which allows you to deliver more work into your business, driven by clients and online through web to print and marketing portals. By making their lives and processes easier, you can achieve more business and at the same time automate and streamline your own by having a platform that automates a significant amount of the work for you. There's an opportunity that allows you to build out and complement print with digital marketing in exactly the same way as print, allowing you as print providers to talk a vital conversation with your clients and bring you into the conversations earlier and to keep taking steps to deliver full omnichannel campaigns in addition to providing print. Now, these opportunities are not new ones and others have been capitalizing on them for years now. However, the inkjet space has seen significant changes over the past few years, and now the opportunities are more significant than ever before. And to come back to my self-proposed question, why XMPie? Well, I firmly believe, and okay, I am more than slightly biased, of course, but I firmly believe that XMPie can help many organizations to capitalize on these opportunities. Maybe not all of them, and maybe not all at once, but to have the opportunity and the platforms upon which to succeed. So just go. So for those that have not come across XMPie before, let me just take a few minutes to introduce our company and the technology that we offer. And so the first place to start is where XMPie was conceived, and that was absolutely within the print industry almost 20 years ago now. 20 years during an age in which digital print was going through massive change itself. The technology and the ground upon which XMPie was built was as firm then as it is now. And XMPie was designed and developed not only to deliver personalization in print, but to deliver personalization across print in the same way as digital. Things have changed over the last 20 years. Print has changed, capabilities have changed, and the media which you've used has evolved. However, the core to XMPie has not changed. The foundation that we started with has ridden the wave of changes and evolved to become essentially an all-terrain vehicle upon which our customers have built their businesses. Today, XMPie has three main cornerstones to its structure. So, firstly, and most fundamentally within this audience, we have the media creation down here in green. Okay, this is where we focus on VDP, variable data printing, personalization in print, programmatical mail, call it whatever you want. But I'm talking about the simple yet powerful ability to make every single printed page and sheet unique, personalized, versioned, relevant, and driven by live data. I'll talk more in detail about this in a second, but for now, I'm talking about printing on inkjet and on toner in the same way, regardless of manufacturer. And it could be 10 recipients, it could be 10 million recipients. The process is still the same, but more on that in a minute. In addition to print, the same technology is being used to create digital media as well. So here I'm talking about emails, images, video, SMS messages, and even websites, all in the same way, all integrated. And again, I'll talk in a bit more detail in a second. And spoiler alert, this area right here in green is how you can add value to print, turn commodity print into valuable, profitable print runs. Okay. So secondly, we have this area in green, where XMPie can offer up web to print and marketing portals. Sorry, the area in blue, got colorblind for a second. Where fully secure e-commerce environments for your clients and their customers, where dynamic, static, and composed print can be facilitated, where print can be personalized, versioned, proof, and paid for without your involvement. It could be non-printed, physical products as well as print. It could be digital media as well, or in addition to print. This is where XMPie can help you grow your business, getting more work in with less hassle, with greater efficiency. Working smarter as opposed to just working harder is never a more truthful phrase here. The easier I can make the process for my customers, the more likely they are to work with me. And the greater efficiency that I can apply to getting the work into the presses means the more time I can actually pass back to my staff. Again, I'll cover this in a bit more detail. And finally, we have this area in red at the top, marketing automation. And this is where XMPie's ability to deliver full cross-media or omni-channel campaigns. This is where we can combine print and digital media within a structure, yet fluid marketing campaign. A campaign that is event-driven, triggered, and resonates and responsive to the individuals that interact with it. This is where XMPie can help organizations to build out their business and to add additional medias and services into that mix without having to complicate or convolute the process. Now, the truly powerful thing about XMPie is it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. XMPie, as I've written here, is a platform, a modular, open, and scalable platform that you can take, use, and develop over a period of time, and our customers have. It's a platform that's not focused on any particular vertical market or sector, a platform that puts our customers in control. Now, all three of these cornerstones may be separate in context, but they're all linked together by the same foundation in technology. And what does that actually mean? Well, what it means is that everything is connected, developed together, built to work together, and built to be built upon. You want to drive a full color customer collateral based on a data set, then you can. You want to add an email to trigger at the same time, then you can. You want to build out that into a marketing campaign, then you can. You want to allow a client to log into a marketing portal, customize that campaign, and execute it with their own data set, then yes, you can. At the heart of XMPie is a core set of technology which helps to split the design, the data, and the production into logical parts, making things easier and more effective across all the teams that need to be involved. So let me take a little bit more to talk about VDP and print within the XMPie platform. Now, our goal at XMPie, right from the very start, like 20 years ago, was focused on providing personalization and relevancy at the best quality possible. Now, when I talk about quality, I'm not talking about speeds, feeds, dots per inch, color gamut of a particular press, as we like to do. Quality to XMPie is and has always been being able to create the best quality piece of communication. Quality that predominantly refers to the design, the quality that refers to how the data can be used within that piece. With XMPie, we enable that quality by allowing a designer to engage with the process directly, by giving them access to the design within the Adobe Creative Suite. So when we are talking specifically about print, then everything is designed inside Adobe InDesign, natively inside Adobe InDesign, not as some side app that moves files between InDesign and XMPie. When a designer creates a template for use with XMPie, it's done within the environment that they are most comfortable within. They have access to all the capabilities of InDesign that span, so these could span layout, flow, font management, color management, and production settings. Nothing is beyond the limits of possibility within the design. Now they can seamlessly control the flow and presentation of data within the same process. So regardless of whether they're creating a point-of-sale brochure or a point-of-sale poster or a customer onboarding piece of communication, it's all done in exactly the same way. It's designed, not programmed. It's created as a single template. The production for the press is invariably done using Adobe's InDesign server. So what you expect to see is what you will actually see. Within InDesign, we can allow a designer to control text, styles, objects, colors, images, tables, barcodes, spreads, layers. Everything can be controlled by the data. If they want to design a template to handle multiple languages, then they can do so by pulling in different text or layers for each language, allowing the format to change to allow for the different lengths in the languages. If they want to vary the number of pages a recipient sees as well as the content, then they can, easily and without programming. In this way, XMPie is agnostic, not printer dependent. Whether you're looking to print on the desktop, a high volume production color device, or a high-speed inkjet press, it makes no difference. The designer doesn't need to know how to manipulate the data or how to program. They just need access to the data and any business rules and logic and how to design well. So from a production perspective, as I said, we stay within design, but they use the server version for productive output, whether they access one server or multiple servers. You see, XMPie can scale up to meet the needs of today and what might come tomorrow. And because we're a print agnostic, there's a choice of output formats to match the press or presses being used. The design stays the same, but the output format can and probably will change depending on the final destination. However, we also recognized many years ago that there was an alternative method to production in which we could dramatically speed up the production of print-ready files. So we developed our own intermediate language that could be rendered away from Adobe and at great speed. The design stayed the same. Sure, we were limited by some of the more design-led features of what InDesign could provide, but just because you can do something, it doesn't mean that you have to or need to. Sometimes function was more important than the design, or the design didn't need to be complicated, in which cases we could significantly increase the production speeds without having to change the process, and in a way that gave our customers, again, more choice and control. So this is where change becomes, for me, really interesting, in my perspective anyway, and where the inkjet market is really concerned. Now, certainly for most of XMPie's existence, the inkjet market was not a place in which we really played. Think about it. XMPie was about design, quality of communication, promoting value-added personalization in print. The inkjet market was predominantly transactionally print, mainly mono. Any color advancements within inkjet in the early, going back 5 years or so, were spoken at the same time as phrases like business color or OK color. There was an obvious mismatch in quality and the production speeds which used to cause us an issue back then. But now look at today. The inkjet community now talks about quality in the same way as Litho and as other digital press manufacturers. XMPie has been busy developing alongside Adobe, and production speeds are where they need to be. Now we have a perfect opportunity, and customers are joining the dots together. The mainly transactional inkjet market is now talking about marketing, direct mail, even packaging. Change has absolutely happened, and customers who have XMPie have been able to complement existing jobs on toner presses with inkjet without having to change the process. While inkjet was once within the sweet spot of inkjet was once within the sweet spot of XMPie, it's most definitely come to our party dressed to impress. And like good hosts, we're going to open them with welcome arms. So not only can XMPie drive your print personalization across all your devices, it can move between them and grow with you as you evolve. Regardless of whether you have a Xerox iGen in one corner or an HP Indigo in the other, or a Ricoh press alongside a Fuji jet press, XMPie will feed them all with the highest quality in design and output, and as fast as possible, and the speed that you need. So when I talk about future-proofing your business and being able to add more profitable work to your presses, then I believe, and our customers support this, that you can with XMPie. Invest in what you need now, grow with what you need in mind, and create higher value and profitable print, moving further away from commodity print and that price conversation that we all love. But what about getting more work onto the presses? What about being able to work smarter and not harder? Well, this is where XMPie can also help through delivering web to print and marketing portals. Now, we all know that customers like things to be easy. They don't want to have time to mess around or to have lengthy conversations. And let's be honest, having to have long drawn out conversations with customers over trivial matters can put a strain on any business's ability to grow. Ideally, we need more customers, and we need more customers to self-serve. So just like the local supermarkets have implemented more self-serve checkouts, more and more print providers are implementing their own self-serve checkouts. It makes sense. Work smarter, not harder. What doesn't necessarily make as much sense is investing in a web-to-print platform that isn't integrated into your print processes. Remember now that XMPie can drive high value, high volume output, driven from design and templates. Well, it makes sense that if you have that capability in-house, then you also want to extend that service out of house to your customers. And this is exactly what our customers are doing with XMPie. When they need e-commerce capabilities, they add it in. And in doing so, they enable all the amazing work internally to be accessed remotely. So now that printed menu run that you are running every month for a client that needed someone to facilitate getting in the latest data, arranging my edits to the design, can now be placed online in a secure site branded to your client, allowing them to access, to modify, to customize before proofing and uploading their own or the latest data. They can then press the button to submit it into your pre-press workflow, directly putting it onto the press while paying for it or putting it on their account. This can all happen 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Great for print and allows our customers to scale up their production without having to change their processes. I've not got long enough to cover everything, but the opportunity doesn't stop there. The same platform could be used to submit non-printed products. So during the pandemic, for example, companies have needed to be responsive to pivot their business. Some turn their hand to making and selling PPE equipment, some to selling COVID postage and signage. A mix of off-the-shelf and printed materials all being supplied through the same platform that was once facilitating print. As business owners, wherever you put your investment, you want to know that it's going to work with you and not against you. This is where our customers come back to us to remind us that XMPie is a platform and helping to grow their business. So there's much more capability within the e-commerce environment from XMPie. But as I said, my time here today is limited. So excuse me if I skip over some of the content. Things like plugins, theme development, packaging, 3D previewing, and even personalized maps are just some of the things that time doesn't allow me to really cover. But again, everything is built upon the core platform, so integration is assured. So XMPie can drive higher value and volume work to your presses. XMPie can also allow you to bring in more work from more sources, allowing you to scale up your business. And in many cases, this allows you to capture new markets. But predominantly, all print-based. But what about scaling out and developing into new markets? Well, this is where XMPie's ability to create personalized media, which is not print combined with our marketing automation, comes into play. Using XMPie's marketing automation tools like Circle, we can start to design blueprints for customer journeys, interactive journeys that span multiple medias, time, and interactions. Using our tools, you can create complete omni-channel campaigns that include digital communications in exactly the same way as print, all using the same design assets, using the same database, and the same business rules or logic. So now the print that we have and we're so passionate about can be used directly within a customer journey. Print can be used to take me on my own personalized website, complete with personalization and relevancy that I would have experienced on the print. Emails and images and videos can all be personalized in exactly the same way using the same data and the same logic. Even personalized PDFs can be created, all on demand and delivered with a level of immediacy that consumers are expecting these days. Events can be trigger-based on consumer interaction or scheduled to happen at set times. So XMPie Circle, which we can see here, provides me with a place which I can create these customer blueprints to map out all the possible interactions and journeys that a consumer might or could take. These blueprints include digital media in exactly the same way as you would print. So here I can schedule the print to be created and produced at the set time, maybe once a day, but only for new recipients. Then, because the print industry, because the print includes a personalized QR code, for example, I can bring those consumers to their own personalized website, where I can further track their interactions and further interact with them. And ultimately, I can trigger personalized emails to be sent, but say only 7 days after that consumer received their magazine. Everything can be tracked in real time, and I can provide these reports back to my clients, ensuring marketing ROI and transparency. And these blueprints, these campaigns can span as many interactions as we need. They do not need to be one-off projects. And remember that foundation core that I was talking about, how everything is connected? Well, with XMPie, I can even take this campaign blueprint and add it to our marketing portal and allow my clients to come in and execute their own customer journey campaigns to their own customers, with print being scheduled automatically. Now, this opens up a whole new level of possibilities for organizations looking to build up and complement their print services. And of course, you don't have to do this from the start. As an XMPie customer, you can add it to the mix whenever the need arises. Now, with many systems, integration is critical. Now, in today's environment, XMPie provides the APIs across the board, making this process easy and cost effective. Our APIs and the ability to program the systems together allow skilled professionals to construct new processes and integrate XMPie's core capabilities into any number of others like e-commerce systems, CRM systems, management information systems. With our open approach to these APIs, the ceiling to what can be achieved with XMPie is pretty high, and very few customers actually ever hit it. Anyone who knows me personally knows that when I'm asked if XMPie can do something, the answer is normally yes, and there's normally various ways in which you can reach that goal. And this is down to the openness and level of integration possible within the XMPie platform. So our platform is a complete solution for organizations through which they can help their businesses grow, driving value, delivering more volume, scaling up their production or scaling out their services. So investing in the right platform today can help protect your business in the future. Our integration and support for the Adobe workflow ensures quality right the way through the media creation process, and ultimately matches it with what is possible on the presses of today. Our open and scalable architecture, which this platform is built upon, really starts to help deliver that. Start only with the elements that you need today, but with the confidence that when tomorrow does come, you are supportive of what might happen. If you need the flexibility to integrate into other processes and systems, then building XMPie's architecture can really provide a strong foundation for your business and your growth. So I guess, ladies and gentlemen, that is XMPie. 20 years in the making, 20 years of growth in the market, and 20 years of responding to the needs and changes of the market that we have today. And I think a fantastic opportunity for any organization that is in inkjet at the moment. So with that said, Morton, should we pass it back? Are there any questions?
What a wonderful presentation, Dave. I have some questions. To be honest, no, I have no. I am always trying to be honest. so that was the wrong starting point. Sorry. I was just curious about if you look at the entry point for getting involved with XMPie.
Yep.
What kind of skills would a customer require in order to get started with it?
Okay, so if we're talking about print, then it's really, as long as you have someone that knows design. Okay, so again, I'll talk about Adobe, I'll talk about Adobe InDesign.
Check.
Okay,
Check.
so if you have that person sat there, that's 80% of the training right there.
Okay.
Because of the integration, the native integration into Adobe and InDesign, as long as you know how to use InDesign, you can use XMPie. It is as simple as dragging, dropping, and starting to merge data with design. So,
but you just mentioned the important word data.
Data, okay.
Because yeah.
So when we talk about data, of course, invariably we have to talk about data when we talk about personalization. From a designer's perspective, I don't care about data. You know, I'm not.
Okay.
You don't employ me to do data manipulation. You employ me to do design. So in that respect, as I said, we split that process. XMPie has tools for handling and working with the data and creating these business rules and the variability. And I can give those to the designer. So that there's a separation there. I don't have to be a jack of all trades. I don't have to be this technical designer that doesn't really exist. You know, I can do the data, do the business rules and the logic, and then hand that to a designer to say, here you go, here's the design brief, there's the data, here's the connectivity, you do the magic and you work the design. Now, in the same way as you take digital media, so you talk about, you know, websites and emails and images and even video, yeah, they need additional skill sets. So from a creative perspective, we still stay within Adobe InDesign. So Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects. So yes, I still need additional design capabilities, but the linking back to XMPie is still natively from those apps. So I rely on design, and I just pass in the same data and the same business rules that I would have supplied to my designer for print. I'm now giving to my web designer for the website. So I keep that continuity across all the levels.
So if you have sorry to interrupt, but if you have, let's say that you are an XMPie customer, let's say that you're a printing company who has that, and then you work with customers who have their own designers or agencies.
Yep.
The tool set for doing this, is that something that you can use externally as well, or is it just something that you can use inside?
Because of the modularity behind XMPie, certainly from a design perspective, you know, it allows us to not only do the design in-house, but also to work with agencies and other, you know, externals to say, look, here is the brief. I am the custodian of the customer, the data, the production. What I need is you to do the design, the web design, the print design. And those tools and that capability can be passed out of house for them to create and then pass back in, and I can run natively. So again, by working with Adobe InDesign and the Creator Suite means that I haven't got to do any, you know, convoluted conversions and processes. You know, I literally can go to a designer on any freelancing site and say, look, can you create me this template? And here's the tools they need. They can create an InDesign file and pass that straight back into my process. I don't need to change it, touch it at all, and it goes straight into the process for printing.
And I can't help think about that if you look at, you know, because the first time I just saw your presentation, I was thinking about Chili Publisher, right? But they have, but it's because they have like the design tools. But since you're using the Adobe design tools, basically you leverage the part of needed to learn new things, right? Because a designer obviously know about Photoshops and the Adobe suite, so that's a huge advantage.
It's 80% of the training. And when you talk about quality, you know, we talk about quality in print, and every press has its own capabilities. Maybe with spot colors, they take some of the CMYK plus capabilities of some of the digital presses today. How do you design for that? You design for it inside Adobe InDesign. So you do the spot colors, you do the color management inside Adobe InDesign. So by doing that, we immediately can be used, or XMPie can immediately be used to drive, you know, higher value pieces of work to specialist presses through using features that are only available inside Adobe InDesign.
Does that require the customer of XMPie to have a server version of the Adobe Suite, or no?
Again, it's a lot of what's capable on the desktop and design tools is irrespective. The only thing that matters is when the production scales up. Of course, if time is the essence and volume is large,
you need server power.
I could do it on my desktop or Mac or PC, but I'd be taking lots of coffee breaks and coming back. But as customers build, and again, this comes back to our customers, as customers grow, they add in bits of the XMPie. So we have many customers that will start at that entry level of just doing simple VDP. As their business grows, they need more capability, more production capability. So the servers come in and now they have more capability to produce print. Then they go, well, actually, we want to be able to do more. So we can add in a web to print and start to feed more volume into the business. Then they go, actually, well, what else can we do? Well, actually, we can start to add digital media into the same mix. So now they've scaled out their business as well as scaled up. So customers, and time and time again, we have customers that come and grow over like 5-10 years with XMPie, saying, well, actually, every so often we come back and we add another element to this, and it just takes the business to another level.
So just to confirm, then it's sold in modules. So it's module, and you can buy packages as and when your business grows.
Yep, it comes pre-configured in various modules, and you can take various elements to it as and when the business needs to.
So, I don't know how anybody can sell a press. And if you've got a customer that's going into, call it direct mail and those wonderful applications, how do people sell a press without the software attached to it? It almost should be part of a package. But having had the experience with training salespeople, it's the whole big thing about that holds up the sale. And, because then it's, the customer goes, I need a designer and I need to get this and I don't have those skills. And then the sales guy goes, there's another 6 months on my sales cycle. So let's get the damn press in, shut up about the software, don't say a word and worry about that.
I remember back in 2005, and I won't name any names or company names, but we had one deal on the table for a print manufacturer and a large press. It's £500,000 worth of a digital press going in, and everything came crashing to a halt because this little bit of XMPie software needed to work. And the conversation was, it's like, well, hold on, I can't get my deal closed until this bit works. It's why? And I think the market's changed dramatically, and I think both print manufacturers and customers, they realize that the press is only as useful as what goes behind it, both from a sales perspective and both from a technology perspective.
What I can't help think about is basically Monday we had a session with Isla Monroe from the Dragonfly agency in Scotland, and basically she gave a lot of hard evidence on why personalization and using data in print is so valuable. So and that brings me back to the point where we started, because if people look at any software, I don't know the price of XMPie, but if you look at any software, it seems that people have an approach that software should be cheap and iron can be expensive, rather than looking at the value of what it gives to you.
It comes on a CD. Well, how can it be?
still okay. That's amazing. You continue surprising me, Dave, I must say.
But that's always been the case. Software is just software. I just download it. Why should it cost as much as this big piece of press? I think.
But my point was that for the people that are watching this and also in the replays, go and watch the session with Isla Monroe, and even also I would say that Louisa Macinder, who did a wonderful session on Tuesday, also gave some very good insights in why personalization is important. And to follow up on that, even Mark Hinter from Rico was talking about the business opportunities around seeing this new opportunity. So this week has actually, promoted XMPie the entire week, so to speak, right?
I think I would question anybody in today's market that questions the importance of personalization and relevancy within communications. We've got past the stage of debating whether it's better to personalize a piece or not. Customers and consumers expect it. It's not a conversation that we should be having now. And if we are, then we've got bigger problems. And I think putting that investment in, and I think this is where the inkjet market, because the inkjet market has, you go back 5 years now, and there's a huge amount of innovation and movement in the inkjet market in the last 5 years. Before that, it was very transactional. It was very mono, business color. And I think now, given the capability of the inkjet presses, there's never been an opportunity to really look at different applications, different pieces that you can put on those presses in combination with personalization and relevancy.
One thing I can't help think about, because being 20 years in the market, and we agree that both you and Jean were way ahead of the time of the technology. Okay, thank you for meeting you guys. But what I can't help think about is that
having the same conversation.
We will.
Yeah. I can't help think about that. I take that you still have in your order portfolio, you still have space for more customers, right?
The market.
So the obstacles for getting into how should people get involved in this? At what level do we talk? Do we talk about smaller printing companies, larger printing companies, so basically everybody with a good idea, or how do you get started with this? You want people to reach out to you and talk to you, but who should talk to you?
I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody, Morten. I think any company that has the capability of producing large volumes of print needs to be asking the questions to their customers as to why they're producing stuff and what their future holds and where their pain points are. Because again, the further you get away from that price conversation and looking at print as a commodity, then you start to open the conversation, and it's that conversation that says, look, how do I do this? I know, and I said, if you know me, the answer is invariably yes. Now, can you do something? Yes, you can. The technology is not an issue. What's the barrier? The barrier is the mindset, the ability to change, to put the skill sets that are needed in place.
When I spoke to Heiko von Gaal and Jutta Hendricks from Canon a month ago, when the iX3200 was introduced, I actually asked the stupidest question, because I asked, okay, so is this just for the bigger printing companies? And Jutta said to me, no, it's for the people with the right mindset.
Yes.
And I think that equates very much to what you're saying, that even if you're a small company, if you have the right idea and the right mindset for actually using XMPie as part of, and I think that what you also stressed very good in your presentation was the fact that this is not just print only. No. So if people are worried about print is going away, which I don't agree with them, but if they are worried about this is an opportunity to dive into new verticals as well.
I don't think print is going away. I think what the battle that many providers have is this mindset from marketers, and again, the need to change to become a communications provider means you've got to go and talk to marketings and brand managers and marketing managers. And in that space, it's almost 99.9% digital. They're focused purely on the digital market, and I think that's the hard conversation to have, which is to say, actually, print is just important. Print is just as powerful. I think unless you can demonstrate that you can combine print with digital in exactly the same way, then it's very hard for you. Now, if you have to separate the processes and have two different conversations about print and digital, then you start to support the message that print isn't as easy as digital is. And I think by bringing everything together and having the conversation, look, we can use exactly the same data, business rules as we're using to drive your digital communication for your email marketing, and we can take that and drive a print piece as well. So it opens up those conversations and just makes it so much easier.
But I think that goes back to the conversations we've been having the whole week, Morten, where we're not, designers and or brand owners and agencies actually aren't aware of all the capabilities that print has to offer now. And, once they're shown that, and as you say, you want digital, we can give you this, but look what you can do with print, and it can drive you to other media, changes the whole story.
And Jean, that has been when we started talking about this a month ago about doing this webinar. It was also to curate a program that covered all the aspects from paper to hardware to software to the business around it. And I think that this week so far has shown that the interest for this, also in the replays that we can already see now, there is a huge interest in this one. And I can't help, yesterday when we saw a hardware presentation of Kyocera where it was like 281 participants, to something that, to be honest, is more important. Then it's again also complex, so it relies a little bit on how we get that things across in afterwards.
Yeah.
We got actually a few questions from some of the attendees here. Björn, my colleague from Sweden, he is asking how many customers in the Nordics is working with XMPie. Do you know that of heart?
I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head. No. I can certainly find out for you.
That would be nice too.
Randy, how do you respond when asked the difference between an email campaign using MailChimp versus XMPie?
Oh, good one. I think it comes back to this siloed approach. That of course, that digital space, I can easily set up a marketing campaign in MailChimp. Anybody can. I have a certain level of capability to personalize that email, but it's only a certain level of ability to personalize it. Okay,
it's very limited, actually, to be honest.
And even with email communication today, and everybody talks about response rates and open rates and how to improve them, essentially 90% of the email communications going out is still pretty bland. It's simple personalization, if that. And I think the capability to be able to not just personalize, but to version. And this is something that MailChimp and the others don't really bring on to the table easily, is that I can personalize it, I can put your names in it, and I can change a couple of things. But to actually version the content and the context to which I'm sending that email is hugely important to me as a consumer. And I think, again, if I use email inside an XMPie infrastructure, an XMPie campaign, I can use the email in both a personalized and version perspective, and then use it to add another level of conversation to it. So take them to a landing page, further engage them, further get some more information, and then carry that conversation on. The email shouldn't just be a one-time or a one-send piece of communication. Say, hey, look, we've got a new product, a new service, and then nothing thereafter.
But I think that to all fairness, I think that XMPie serves a different audience and serves different purpose that most MailChimp campaigns do. So of course you have limitations. Yeah.
If you just want to email 1,000 people, then.
But I was thinking also in relation to what Isla Monroe spoke about. You obviously haven't heard it, but basically when you compare XMPie to MailChimp, maybe you should look way more whether the conversions rates are better if you have a higher level of personalization. And I think that you are a living proof, because XMPie have existed for 20 years, that a lot of customers see the value in relation to being able to offer more complex campaigns. So it's more a question about the right mindset and then understanding the entrance point for where people can take this, because I have a few customers or prospects in mind that I will refer this video to, because I think they should know you if they don't already do so. So I think it's a good point from my point.
I think it always comes back to asking the why.
Precisely.
If you talk to someone and say, okay, we do our email with MailChimp, why? Okay, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And I think by just asking that simple question and starting to unfold, sometimes you come back and say, well, it's easy, it's cheap. Yeah, but what are you actually trying to do? I'm trying to get more sales in. Well, hold on, you've got a mismatch of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Just because it's easy, just because it's cheap, doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. And time and time again, with both print and personalization, sure, it may cost more to do the communication, but the return you're going to get is significantly higher. So
it's almost cost per response, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cost per response.
Some of our customers are almost costing and using almost like a price per lead conversation. Actually, I'll put together the campaign for you, which includes email and web and all the rest of it, but you only pay me when I get a lead into the business or into the process, not here's a £1 per 1,000 for the emails and a £1 per 1,000 for the print and the £1 per 1,000 for the websites. It's I'm investing in you as a business, as a client. We're going to put the campaign together, and we're invested into making sure that works, and it will work because we can see.
We will have to say thank you to you now, Dave. It was wonderful to talk to you. I really enjoyed both your presentation and the conversation, and I hope to be able to talk to you soon again.
I hope
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Phil.
Okay, great.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
Stay
Cheers.
safe.
Bye.